Still waiting for an apology that isn't coming? Cute. They saw exactly what they were doing to you. That's the part that actually cuts. Not that they didn't notice, that they noticed and stayed anyway. My lovely anomalies. Tonight isn't about healing. It's about war. You keep trying to figure out where you went wrong. Here's the shortcut. You didn't go wrong. You went real. And that terrified people who only know how to perform. This world doesn't reward loyalty. It uses it and bleeds it dry. You give more, they demand more. You break yourself to keep them whole, and the second you stop, you're the villain. You thought kindness would bring them back. Here's the truth without sugar. Some people are more addicted to hurting you than to healing with you. They won't admit they broke you. They'll just tell everyone you changed after they shattered you. So now there's one option: war. Not a weapon, not screaming in the street. This is violence against your old self, the version that begged, chased, explained, waited. Every time you got left on red and still came back like your soul was a motel with an open sign. That version needs burying. What's coming next needs someone they've never met. They wanted war? Give them silence loud enough to echo in their pride. This isn't revenge. It's evolution. The kind where you rise so quietly they choke on the thought of you, and your progress becomes their punishment. Healing was never supposed to be soft. Healing is war. It's deleting the 2 a.m. message and never sending it. It's realizing their love was never love. It was convenience wearing love's coat. You begged, you bled. That stops now. I laughed that night, not because anything was funny. The kind of laugh that leaks out when your heart's too shattered to scream. They took your loyalty and turned it into a leash, took your silence and called it weakness. And you let them, not with words, but with every time you stayed quiet when you should have roared. They thought the shattered version of you was the final act. What a joke. They liked you broken, easier to control. Here's the real secret. They need you broken. The second you rise from the wreckage, they lose control. You stop being their disaster and become their biggest regret. Pain, at least, is honest. It sits down and says, let's talk, and you either listen or drown. You're still here, breathing, and that counts for something. Those sleepless nights, that built you. While they were out there pretending, you were in the trenches of your own mind, fighting for every breath. You don't come out of that the same. You come out dangerous. Not because you want to hurt anyone, but because you now know how to survive without anyone pulling you out. Now you see the masks for exactly what they are, and you don't flinch. That's power. When you stop chasing people who can't even catch their own reflection, you become untouchable. Let them wonder why you went quiet. You were never theirs to begin with. You were a storm they tried to fit in a teacup. It still hurts, I know, but they don't get to own that pain anymore. You take every wound back and build with it, brick by bloody brick, until your life is a fortress they can't approach. You want revenge? Don't post the wound online for pity. Go silent. Rise in silence. Build in silence. When the time comes, they'll wonder how they missed the whole storm arriving. Funny how they look at you now. Quiet, cold, focused. Back then you were soft, naive, full of hope. It tore you into pieces you didn't know existed, and you tried gluing them back with fake smiles while bleeding underneath. They watched you love them with everything you had while giving you the minimum, then just kept walking. Like you were a ghost they had to unsee. They never look back because people hate facing wreckage they caused. The world doesn't care how much you loved. It only cares how well you rebuild. So, you're going to sit there hoping they come back? No. Now you understand being broken wasn't your fault, but staying broken is on you. Pain is a teacher that doesn't whisper sweet nothings. It yells, strips every illusion, forces you to face the mirror without flinching. You stared into that hollow version of yourself and finally said, "Enough." That's the moment everything changed. You learned silence is louder than screaming. Being kind was never supposed to mean being a doormat. Real strength isn't showing your fists, it's showing your limits. I'll love you, but I won't lose myself doing it. Look at the real you, not the mask you fake to get through the day. The one who forgave people who never once said sorry. That version was real. People don't like real. It exposes fake the way sunlight exposes shadow. So they ran, and you thought it was your fault. It never was. You were gold in a world obsessed with glitter. Now it's your turn to become the storm. No more waiting for them to change. They won't. People rarely do. But you're not empty anymore. You've got rage now. Controlled, disciplined, quiet. The kind that doesn't scream, it builds. You know what's more terrifying than an angry person? A silent one. The one who doesn't argue back, just levels up. They broke you once, but you let them in, gave them access to your soul. That chapter's closed. Now you guard your peace like a war zone. Access to you has to be earned now, every inch. You know what they actually hate most? Not your distance, your progress, because it proves they never broke the real you. They just woke him up. People love treating pain like a badge, like it automatically made them better. Pain doesn't always build you. Sometimes it just breaks you into pieces and steps on what's left. You were only ever begging for something real, and they saw the gold in you and played you like a song on repeat. That's enough. Never again. You thought loyalty would buy you permanence. But people don't cherish what's given freely. They taste it, use it, spit it out once it loses its sweetness. You were gold on their tongue while they were starving. The moment they were full, you became disposable. You replayed everything, trying to find the exact moment it slipped. Here's the truth. They switched lanes long before they walked away. People leave emotionally long before they leave physically. That version of them, the one that made you feel safe, died the moment their comfort mattered more than your peace. They tore through your soul like it was a cheap curtain, and you still tried sewing it back together while bleeding. You had every right to go bitter, but you stayed kind anyway. That strength, surviving without becoming them, most people will never understand. From now on, you don't owe anyone the soft version of you. No more explaining your heart to people who treat it like a punchline. They built something with someone else, so now you burn the blueprint and build something untouchable. They broke you once, but now you're the storm that remembers. When they come back, and they always do, don't scream. Just exist, calm and cold. Let them drown in the absence of what they took for granted. Not revenge, just your peace, guarded like a kingdom they no longer belong inside. Real healing isn't going back to who you were before they broke you. Real healing is remembering the fire without being consumed by it. You don't need closure. You need discipline. You don't need their apology. You need your own boundaries. Let them call you distant. You did change. In a world that breaks you for being real, changing is the only way to survive. You keep your heart, but you guard it now. You move in silence. Once, your voice was a gift, and they treated it like background noise. Isn't it funny? The ones who ghosted you are the same ones who panic once you stop caring. Your peace isn't a public service anymore. It's a fortress. The ones who smile the widest usually bleed the deepest. You walked into this world hands wide open, and they studied every flaw before lighting the match with a smile. You let them because you thought being good meant being soft. But you're not broken anymore. You're reborn, and they don't get a second chance to shatter you. They only ever get to break you once, and that first time teaches you more than 1,000 books ever could. It forces you awake. No more blind faith in empty promises. That innocent part of you had to die. Maybe that was the actual price of becoming who you were always meant to be. You don't owe your softness to the ungrateful. They loved you when you were easy to control. The second you asked for the same energy back, you became the villain in their story. That's exactly how you know you're growing, when your silence disturbs them more than your loyalty ever did. So what now? Keep crying over people who sleep fine while you drown. No, you walk alone now, heavy with wisdom, heavy with scars that turned into armor. Real power is when someone lies to your face and you just smile, because you already knew. When betrayal hits and instead of breaking, you laugh, because you expected nothing and still gave everything. That pain didn't destroy you. It refined you, rewired your heart to beat only for people who actually earn it. You don't speak to be understood anymore. You speak to be heard, or not at all. Rebuild, quietly, ruthlessly. They broke you once, never again. They lost access the moment they proved they didn't deserve you. Bury that old version, the one that begged, the one that waited. When they come back, they'll find someone colder, sharper, someone who sees through the act before they even open their mouth. And you won't even be angry. You'll just be calm, because there's nothing left to prove. It always starts the same. They adore you, drink from your kindness like water in a desert. Then the second they've had their fill, they flip the script. Suddenly you're too much, the problem. The moment you said, "I'm hurting," you became inconvenient. You were shattered piece by piece, and you still loved them anyway. That's the most disturbing part. But guilt never sits with people like that. They sleep fine on beds made of the lies they tell themselves about you. But you survived. Not healed, not whole, breathing. And that's the miracle. You were your own rescue plan, your own ambulance, dragging your heart through months of betrayal, and still waking up, still working, still moving. That's not weakness. That's the kind of strength the ones who fold at the first sign of difficulty will never understand. They didn't break you because you were weak. They broke you because you were pure. You gave without holding back, and they thought they could tame that. Now you know better. Not every "I love you" is sacred. Some people say it like they say hello. You're not the villain for surviving, for going cold, for cutting ties. Pain changes you. Silence sharpens you. You're not soft clay anymore. You're carved in stone. You don't owe softness to the people who danced on your wounds, and you don't owe cowards an explanation. They mistook your patience for permission. Big mistake. Now they'll see exactly what happens when the one who gave everything decides to give nothing back. When the one who stayed becomes the one who disappears for good. You're the ocean. You carry storms, wrecks, buried treasure. You were never built for the weak, and that's exactly why they left. Not because you were too much, because they were never enough. You don't heal by going back to what broke you. Stop answering ghosts. Stop hoping for apologies from people who don't think they did anything wrong. They moved on because they could. You survived because you had to. You're colder now, sharper, and the world doesn't deserve the soft version of you anymore. Sit with that. Let it burn. Then rise. Not for then, not for revenge. Rise because pain was the sculptor, and it carved something unshakable out of your bones. You've been quiet too long, given too many second chances to people who never deserved a first. That ends tonight. No more warmth for the cold-hearted. Just silence. Just distance. Just the version of you that doesn't beg, doesn't explain, doesn't stay. See you on the other side of the war, Joker.